Hello. Welcome to another edition of Straight from the Loading Dock, Insights into Cleveland Industrial Real Estate. Today I have with me Coleman Sorenson.
How you guys doing?
So Cole, a little bit of background with Cole. So Cole was part of our five-person brokerage team for about 4 years.
That's right.
Right?
Yep.
And then about almost a year and a half ago, October, you began the transition from the team then kind of into more of an independent brokerage role.
That's right.
On your own. So you know, the program that we had set up with our team was to bring in talented individuals, train them on how we run brokerage, and then let them go off and become a broker within CRESCO Real Estate, Cushman, Wakefield, and Cole did that, and was really crushed it, flourished. In his first year, was named Broker MVP.
That's right, Broker MVP and the Rising Star Award.
Yeah, and so Broker MVP was voted on by peers within the company, and then the other was production related. So when you're really hitting it from a production side, and then your peers were voting for you as an MVP. I mean, we knew it as a team, and we're happy that the rest of the company was able to see that. So big congratulations.
Thank
to
you.
on
I
that.
appreciate it.
It was I've seen a tremendous amount of growth in you from when you first started to kind of where you are today, and and obviously we haven't even scratched the surface, right? Because you're 5 years in, but you're 1 year in. Right?
It's been a journey so far.
Yeah.
Big learning experience. All 5.5, 6 years of it.
So take me back to before you came into brokerage, and what were you doing before that?
So I grew up in Nashville, Tennessee, went to Miami University of Ohio.
By the way, I love Nashville.
It's a great city. Completely different now, but it's a great city. So moved up to Cleveland, and I was dating a girl at the time, and she brought me up here because she got a job at the Cleveland Clinic. We got married, so
thank you, Kinsey.
Yeah, it worked out well. But yeah, I took a job straight out of college for a year with a logistics brokerage firm, but I always kind of had my sights set on real estate. My family is a real estate family, so I grew up around it. I did internships throughout college in different brokerage firms, boutique. I did an internship at the Cushman office in Nashville, and I did one with JLL. So I always had an interest in it and always knew it was something I wanted to pursue. So it just made logical sense for me to eventually transition into that role. And my logistics brokerage time kind of lent itself very well to looking and focusing on industrial real estate because I had some contacts there and kind of knew the process of the transportation industry.
Right. And by the way, industrial is cool.
It is, yeah.
So kind of looking back, what were some of the most valuable lessons you learned during the 4 years that you were training with our team?
So it really comes down to two things. One is attention to detail and attention to the small minor things.
Yep.
And the second is diligent follow-up and communication. When you look at all these reports you're putting together, letter of intents, and you're learning the process of what it takes to transact a deal, you have to pay attention to the small things because those small things at the beginning, they could turn into big things later. So for example, verbiage on a letter of intent, it could translate into an issue later on in the lease. And if you don't have that experience and that team knowledge behind you, it could turn into big problems.
So so one of the things, obviously, it was a 5-person team, but you were supporting 4 brokers.
Yeah.
And each broker had a different style.
Yes.
And could often be challenging. So it's okay to say yes.
That's one word for it. That's one word for it.
So how did you deal with that? And what and in dealing with that, how did that kind of help you as you have to work with different owners and different ownerships, styles or tenants and their particular styles?
Well, it goes right back to that. I mean, each broker on the team, like you said, has different personalities. All of your clients in brokerage also have different personalities, so you have to learn to adapt and know how somebody does things and know the process that they like to use and adapt that way. So it helped to understand what kind of style each team member had, knowing what they like, knowing what they don't like, and knowing how to handle that process from start to finish for whatever you're working on. And it really helped prepare me to know, okay, this client might like things done this way, this client likes things done a different way. So it's really about adaptability and learning the different processes that each broker has set up over their time in commercial real estate.
Yeah, I mean, so that's what's I think great about the firm is there is an extensive amount of knowledge, institutional knowledge that's here.
Yes.
Where some guys have been in the industry for well over 40 years. So it's and I know you did this as you were transitioning. I mean, you went to all the different brokers, and I know you kind of sat down with a lot of them. So I think it makes sense to do that, and then you kind of take the best
Exactly.
ideas from each individual, and then see if you can mold it into the broker that you want to be.
Correct.
And kind of taking advantage of all that knowledge that's here within these walls. One of the other things that I really liked when with you on your team is you self-taught yourself a lot. Mm-hmm. Whether it was setting up a website, video work, drone photography, mm-hmm. right?
Yeah.
You went, you kind of self-taught yourself. So you took the initiative. You were aggressive in doing some of that, and that was a huge benefit, to the team, to our team, and owners and tenants. So what made you, why did you want to do that?
Well, I just like learning new things. I mean, I've always been a curious person. I've always liked learning new tasks and new challenges and figuring out how things work. So, it was fun for me more than anything. And it, like you said, it helped not only add value to the team, but it added values to the owners. And we were able to take that when we were pitching business and say, hey, look what we can do now. Like we're adapting with the times because everything is shifting digitally.
Very much
Everybody has access to all the property listings and the information on the internet. So having that leg up on the marketing aspect of things was, I thought, valuable.
So at the end of the day, I mean, you want to be more than a commodity broker because
Correct.
Anybody can just go get information on a website, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if you're there to add value, that's what's important. I think one of the other things that as you have gone on in yourself is you've made yourself valuable to other brokers within the office. Mm-hmm. So they're coming down to your office and saying, "Hey, Cole, I like what you did here. Do you want to team up?"
Yeah.
So that's kind of been I think an extreme positive that I've seen for you in your growth.
And not only that, but it goes back to the communication aspect of thing. Yes, you have to communicate with your clients, but at the same time, you have to communicate with your peers. And that's valuable and important to know where everybody's at in the process when you're working on something together.
Right. Yeah, and then we have Tuesday morning sales meetings, and I always tell everybody is that if you can crush it in our sales meetings, when you get in front of a customer or a client or a prospect, landlord, whatever it is, you will be just fine because this room will be your harshest critic.
Yes.
And it will prepare you, for any of the questions that get asked.
Yeah, it's a lot scarier in this room than it is in front of a client.
Yeah, yes, it is. So if you can go back, to roughly 5.5 years ago, when you kind of first got into it, what advice would you give yourself?
Probably just to set up a process that works for yourself. And stick to it. That doesn't mean don't vary off that process. You make tweaks on it over time. So, for example, figure out how you take notes the best. Figure out what days of the week are best for prospecting and cold calling and stick to that. Mm-hmm. Have set out times to do business development and be sure to go to more networking events than you feel like you need to, because you never know what's going to come from them.
Well, and especially when you're young, that's when theoretically you have the most amount of time that you can, take advantage of that, because all of a sudden then, once you get married and then once you start having kids, all of a sudden your time dwindles as you have to, as you have some other responsibilities to take on, as an example, when I was early on, I was president of the Cleveland Area Board of Realtors. I was president of the Ohio CCIM chapter. I was president of the local Camps Corners Development Corporation. By the way, I had 3 kids that were under the age of 7.
It's a handful.
So it was and I was involved with some little sports, and I don't know how my wife and I did it, but we did, and it's it taught me a lot, throughout the whole process. So it's definitely some good advice to make sure you get active, you get involved. So a couple more questions. What were some of the biggest takeaways from your time training with the team that have helped shape your career?
I mean, it goes back to like you said, there's a wealth of knowledge in this office and in this firm, and having that experience to fall back on is the most important thing. Not only that, but the stability of the team. It really helps you have some cushion and some comfort to be able to learn the industry and learn those processes. And not only that, but having existing deals to work on. When you're starting out, if you don't have a team to work on, you got to go and find the deals yourself. You got to figure out how to do those deals and actually transact. But if you're on a team, you have deals already to work on, and you can understand the process from start to finish a lot better. So it helps you, it gets you a leg up.
So, that'll transition me to another question. So do you think, that if you were to have come in, without, so when you left the logistics job and you all of a sudden just jumped into brokerage, do you think you would be where you're at today?
No. It would have taken me 2 to 3 years to fully get a grasp on the process in its entirety. But not only that, the time on the team helped me understand the details and small nuances of deal making and how everything is a little bit different. So I wouldn't have been at the point I am today without having that experience on the team first.
So, so then so your thought is, it's a lot easier to learn, train, and versus just jumping in with both feet.
Yeah. Oh, big time.
So, all right. So kind of wrapping up this a little bit. So looking ahead, so what are your goals for your brokerage career, and how do you see the market evolving?
I mean, my biggest thing is I just want to make an impact on Cleveland and my clients' companies. I want to help them grow and succeed, and a lot of the times people need more space or better space to be able to do that. I want to be able to help bring jobs to the region and impact these smaller townships, villages, and communities that need it.
Yeah. So I know you're you want to get your CCIM designation.
I want to do CCIM. I got to do the classes. I want to join the SIOR Associate Membership Program. I just want to get more involved in the local real estate brokerage communities.
Yeah, and it's really critical and important, and to, number one, get involved, and then number two, once you are involved, be active and participate.
Exactly.
Because if you're just going to, say I'm an associate member and not do anything, it's then you're not getting anything out of it.
Yes.
So it's being there, being present, being active, and so if we can share some words of advice to those that are listening is, be active, be involved.
Yeah, get your name out there.
Right. So Cole, appreciate you coming on today. it was great having you for those 4 years, and obviously we still team up on deals. So he isn't just on his own anymore. We still work on deals together, and we will always continue to. So that's straight from the loading.